Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to another exciting episode of Channel X, the only show on Thursdays that starts the weekend early. I am your host, Tom Dog 247. As always, I'm Tom Dog all day and Tom Dog all night. Woo, baby, alright. So, um, as you probably read on the description right there, um, we are going to be paying our respects to Bobby Heenan. Um, for those of you who are wrestling fans out there, know that Bobby Heenan was a manager who turned wrestling commentator for many years, and he retired later on and became a WWE Hall of Famer. Um, he was battling throat cancer and everything like that, and he wasn't doing too well. And cause of death this past weekend is still unknown. Um, there's probably leading towards with the cancer and everything. So we're going to be doing a little bit about that. We're going to have a little fun in between at the beginning of the show. Do like a little monologue and everything like that, and a lot of so good stuff. So that it's not just more sad and everything like that, which will be we'll get all the fun stuff out of the way first before we do anything. And so we'll see what happens, and then get the show going on the road here. So before we get things started, let's go ahead and do our plugs, our shout outs, and our advertisements and everything like that. Let's get that out of the way. Oh, before we start, yeah, I'm doing the I'm not doing the GTA Online this time and everything like that, because with the lot that's going to be talking about and everything like that, I don't want to um, get the idle message and everything like that. So pretty much focusing on the episode in hand and everything like that, because it's more important than me throwing a car off of Mount Chiliad like I always do. But we'll do that next week, I promise. So before we get things on the way, let's go ahead and give out the shout outs and everything like that. Shout outs, of course, to the give out shout outs to gaming pros and otherwise over at Facebook. Check that out. It's really, really awesome. We have a lot of fun. A lot of friends on there, and always have such a great time. And you will too if you check them out. Tell them Tom Dog sent you. And of course, always my good friend Jen and everybody at Bristol Beat and the Bristol Beat app. Download it today on your iPhone or your Google phone, your Android phone. Got some great weather coming up this weekend here on the East Coast. Gonna be great. Just got had a little bit of a tropical depression here from Hurricane Jose, but it turned into a tropical depression. So yeah, if you have not checked out their website and everything, you're missing out on some awesome fun there, and you'll be glad you did. So check it out. The BristolBeat.com and the Bristol Beat app. Download it today. Also, big shout out to Marissa, who surprised me with a little something today. She bought it over the weekend, but I haven't had a chance to go around and pick it up because I've been busy. But apparently she picked me up a box of Oreo O's. So, because she knows how I love my Oreos, and and to me, I call them Oreos, and it says new. But if you look in the back of the box, if you really look at the back of the box, it says the highly anticipated sweet return. So, Post, you're kind of misleading there with the new, because it's not new when you already had the cereal out. So technically, it just say right here, return. So language, and it's actually a very good cereal. And I'm not gonna do it because I've already eaten some and everything. I didn't open up this box. No, I've had some prior to that, and it was delicious, very good. And all right, so the plugs. Loot Crate. If you have not yet subscribed to Loot Crate, you're missing out on some awesome stuff. I just did an unboxing earlier today, and I'm dropping everything. And this is the box that came in. No, not another cereal box. No, it's just the box that just the Loot Crate box inside out. This is the box art that came that's inside. Really awesome. It's really cool. And I actually like this. So I'm going to be keeping it for nostalgic purposes. And it's, surprisingly enough, just as big, just a little bit smaller than the Oreos box. So I would have definitely put the box of cereal into that box right there and everything. But hey, beggars can't be choosy. But lootcrate.com is where you need to go in order to subscribe to the next month's box, which is Mystical. It's going to be it's their Halloween theme box, and you definitely want to check that out. It's going to be really cool. It's going to have some Ghostbusters, among other, and Stranger Things, and it's going to be it's going to be so good that it's scary. So definitely check that out. LootCrate.com is where you need to go. And then while you're at it, check out Funko.com, where you can check out their latest pop vinyls. And I've actually seen them. They're the new pop vinyls that are going to be coming out in stores. There's actually a Bob Ross collector's item that's going to be hitting at Target stores. I don't know when, but it's a Target exclusive. But I'm going to check that out. And I'll probably do like a mini unboxing, if I do decide to get it. So I just got to see how much it's going to be and everything like that. But while you're at it, you can also see what subscription boxes they have on sale, have available and everything like that. And you don't want to miss out on those because those are really awesome as well. So check it out, Funko.com today. And this episode is brought to you by M&J Video Games and Collectibles. You trade in your old video games and consoles from retro video games, accessories, and systems. You can also trade in your DVD box sets and Blu-rays, sports cards and novelty items, wrestling collectibles, and autographed items, spanning from sports, wrestling, and actors. And if you're in the Connecticut area, you can check it out at two of their locations, one at 1049 Queen Street in Southington, Connecticut, also at 38 Center Street in Wallingford, Connecticut. For more information on where to get on the directions, and check out the list of events that are happening in the Connecticut area, check it out at mjvideogamesandcollectibles.com. So you're probably wondering about the shirt and everything. And I actually got the shirt today. Not from the Loot Crate box. No, I got this from work. Because I was at work today. We had like a little company picnic, and I want to share a little bit of that with you before we get the show started. You know, start off the monologue and everything like that. And we have a lot of fun. And we actually have a lot of fun with that. And it's really cool, and we have it every year, and just a few, just like a couple hours to unwind and everything, because we're getting ready for the holiday season, which is why, in a couple weeks' time, I won't. The season's going to end, um, which will be at the end of September, which will probably be last week, because my schedule is going to be extremely tight next next week, next couple of weeks. So, um, but I'm going to try to do some shows as best as I can, like I always do. Try to do like a Halloween themed episode. Not to mention the ever so popular Tom Dog Plays, where we do a traditional Halloween themed episode. Not sure where I'm going to be doing the show, on what platform I'm going to be doing, whether it's going to be on the PlayStation or it's going to be on the Xbox One. I'm not sure. So I'll keep everybody posted of what's going on. It's leaning towards the PS4, because of the fact that I just, as you all well know, I just got the PS4 back in March with the whole tax return thing and everything like that. So definitely check that out. But I'll give out my final word on where it's going to be, and what game I'm going to be playing. If I do the PS4, it's probably going to be Until Dawn, which is going to be a lot of fun there. I'm not sure what game I will do if I do on the Xbox One, though. So I'm not quite sure yet, but not sure. So but I'll keep everybody posted when I'll keep everybody posted on what where I'm going to be doing and everything like that. Hey, Marissa, how are you? And thank you again for the Oreos. Thank you again. I will enjoy them. Just not right now, because I have something else that I'm going to be consuming. But anyways, at the company, I was just talking about the company picnic, and it's actually really cool. And I'm going to show to you some pictures that I took at the company picnic, and it's actually really funny, and I actually love doing this. It's kind of been like a tradition. I've been having this is actually my third time having these, and it's actually really cool. Get to take some free pictures, and they actually were giving away some t-shirts. As a matter of fact, I'm wearing it right now. So this is a really cool shirt that I'm wearing. It's commemorating 30 years of the company that I work for, and that it's been in business, and we actually handle online orders. So that's really cool, which I'll talk about in a future rants video, because there's a lot to talk about in there. Anyways, so here it is. One of the pictures that I took, actually that I was taking, and it's actually really, these pictures I always ham it up every year, and I should have shown these the last couple of times I did it, but this is my third time having these pictures done and everything, and it's really cool. And here we go. Check this out. This is it right here. I don't know if you can see it that well, but that's the top shot, and there's the second shot, and there we go, right there. Let's get this control out of the way, and it's right there. Look at me hamming it up, but I'm gonna post it more on my Twitter and Facebook, and it's gonna be so awesome. I love doing stuff like that, so it's a lot of fun. And one of our local restaurants was Frankie's. One of our fast food joints was actually catering the event. So if you're ever, as a matter of fact, if you're, and, again, if you're ever in the Connecticut area and you want to go to M&J Video Games and Collectibles, definitely stop by Frankie's. You'll definitely, you definitely get your money's worth, with their traditional hot dogs. They're foot long hot dogs, and they are amazing. Um, you definitely do not want to get screwed over. You will definitely enjoy these hot dogs because Frankie's is very known for their hot dogs. Yeah, they have burgers and stuff like that, but if you want a damn good hot dog, go to Frankie's in here in Connecticut. Definitely worth the trip. Definitely worth it. And one of the things that they got is a chocolate chip cookie, and this cookie is huge. And yes, I almost talked like Donald Trump there. Huge. There you go. So, and it's Daisy's cookie. So as a matter of fact, in typical perverted fashion, before we do get things too serious on here, I am going to munch on Daisy's cookie for your enjoyment. I love munching on Daisy's cookie. Oh man. Oh man. I'm so perverted. Her moist cookie. And also, sweeten the deal, I'm going to snort some Coke. A cola. Ah. Oh, man. I mean, who would have thought that I would be snorting Coke? Who would have thought that I'd be snorting Coke and munching on Daisy's cookie live on YouTube? So, yes. Oh man. Hey, product placement makes it so easy for me. You know, d- let's see. I wonder what another D is going to bring. I wonder what other pastry that begins with D. So maybe Diane's Danish. I don't know. Diane's cheese Danish. I don't know. Or no, no, it has to be cherry Danish. Sorry. So, oh man, man, I could just hear everybody saying, "Oh my God, what the hell?" Oh my God, I'm having too much fun here tonight. So, but you know, but on a more serious note, um, on a more serious note, now that we gotten the laughter out and everything, and feel good about ourselves because it's good to have a little bit of fun. Um, as I mentioned at the top of the show, um, Bobby Heenan passed away this past weekend at the age of 74. Um, he's very he was one of the most hated heel managers in the WWE at the time. He started off as a manager in the AWA, managing um, Nick Bockwinkel, a fellow Hall of Famer, and he he then he went on to the WWE to manage guys like Mr. Perfect, Andre the Giant, Rick Rude, um, Harley Race, Haku, Tonga Kid, um, were known as the Islanders. Um, also, um, um, there was another guy I know I'm missing. But anyways, King Kong Bundy, Big John Studd, of course, and good friends with Ric Flair, and he helped Ric Flair come to the WWE at the time in around '91, and he was going through a lot later on after his retirement and everything, due to complications of throat cancer, and he's having a hard, he was, and you could tell because he was having a hard time talking, and then it just gotten worse years later, and now it's just very sad to find out that he's no longer with us. Um, he's very memorable in the in the wrestling world. He commentated on both WWE and WCW, um, and it was really cool, really cool to see him and everything. I never met the guy in person, but I did see him in person when I was a child. A little nostalgia trip. I was I was in Florida. I was vacationing in Florida when I was a child, and one of the things I went and then when we were coming back home to Connecticut at the time, a bunch of wrestlers were heading on a plane. There was I actually saw Brutus the Barber Beefcake um, there too, and also Bobby Heenan was there too, and I wasn't sure if it was like the same plane that we were on, but it was going to be really cool. But the fact that I saw both Bobby Heenan and Brutus the Barber Beefcake, that was really cool. But never had the opportunity to say hi or even get a picture with them. I think it would have been really cool if I did. I think that would have been really really cool. But I've always admired Bobby Heenan. He was like the most hated heel at the time, and he was really good at it. He was really good, and one of his phrases was like, "If you listen, you listen to me, you go to the top. You don't listen to me, good luck." you know, um, and he was always known for his one-liners in the business, and his chemistry with Gorilla Monsoon on commentary was awesome. It was very awesome, and you know, whenever whatever one liner that Bobby Heenan would say, Gorilla Monsoon would get annoyed and be like, "Well, will you stop?" Or he was like, mostly he was like, "Will you stop?" or "Will you be, will you be serious?" or something like that. It was, the chemistry that they had was unique, and it's something that you don't see in commentary today. And it was one of Gorilla Monsoon's famous phrases to Bobby Heenan. It was like, "Will you stop?" And it's like he was always getting on his, he was always yelling at Heenan, no matter what he said. And I was like, no matter what comment he said, and Gorilla Monsoon would just say, "Oh, will you stop?" And it was a lot of fun, and a lot of that chemistry that they had transitioned to when I was doing my cable access show, and we had a couple guys do some commentary, um, who went by the name of Barry Butan and Rich Russell, and their chemistry that they had together was amazing, and was pretty funny. And you know, Barry Butan was the Bobby Heenan to um, Rich Russell's Gorilla Monsoon, and listening to those guys on commentary was a lot was brought me back to to that time where it was so wonderful. And as a wrestling fan, um, it was nice to see that nostalgia feeling going in there. And with that being said, um, I came up with my own top five. Now, normally I do the whole, the wide top five, but I'm not doing that tonight because of course, it's Bobby Heenan's tribute and everything like that. We're paying respects to Bobby Heenan. Don't worry, I'm not passing it through my nose. That's only a one shot deal. um, but these are my personal top five moments. My favorite Bobby Heenan moments. As a wrestling fan and just a fan of Bobby Heenan in general, because you you love to hate him because he was such a great heel. So, and that's how Bobby Heenan was, and he was so good at it. Whether he was a manager or as commentator, he's the only guy that more so on commentary where he literally made me you know be a wrestling fan. And it's like with commentary, with the on-air commentary, chemistry that he had with Gorilla Monsoon was by far something that can never be topped or beat or duplicated or replicated or whatever. You you will never see that in today's WWE commentary or even in TNA wrestling for that matter. Um, you will never see that. You will never see commentary like that. Um, yeah, you had the team of Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross, but nothing is compared. Nothing can top the on-air commentary chemistry between Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon. And right now they're up in heaven right now doing some commentary on a lot of in the great wrestling ring in the sky. Um, so these are my top five personal favorites um, of my moments seeing um, Bobby Heenan on TV. So these are my personal favorites, and I'll give a little rundown of each one too. So it'll be very interesting. So at number five, his appearance on Super Double Dare. Um, this was in the late. This was aired on the late '90s. Um, I forgot what it was tying to. I believe it was for like before like shortly before or after WrestleMania. I forgot which, but everybody would know. For those who don't know what Double Dare is, it was a game show on Nickelodeon starring Mark Summers, and it was one of the most coolest game shows, kids themed game show in the '80s, in the late '80s, early '90s on Nickelodeon, and it was basically the best game show as ever seen as a child. Um, there was a lot of cool game shows, but nothing compared to Double Dare. When you're a kid, there was like a lot of there was of course a lot of adult themed adult catering to adults for game shows and everything. I mean, yeah, they had Wheel of Fortune at times, but then at the time there was Price is Right and everything, but mostly Wheel of Fortune was more family friendly, and as well, Price is Right was also family friendly too, but nothing compared to Double Dare. That was a game show strictly for children, and it was very, very awesome. And they really need to. Thank you, Anika. Thank you very much. And this is really cool. Um, so this one particular episode was his appearance on Double Dare with Gorilla Monsoon, and it was actually one of my favorite Double Dare episodes ever because the Bobby Heenan was on one team, of course, and then Gorilla Monsoon was on another team, and Bobby Heenan and is the contestant won the game, and they had to go to the obstacle course, and in one of the moments, Gorilla Monsoon backflip you know backflips him into this pool. I forgot the only thing I forget that it was I forgot what was in the pool. What was in that big pool. I don't know if it was like um like confetti or something like that, or chocolate pudding. I don't know. Something wacky like that. It might have even been just like a pool of just a pool of water. I really do forget that. But nonetheless, it was one of the most funniest moments I've ever seen, and Bobby Heenan took that well. It was something that I'll never forget, and I had a great time watching that. But yeah, if you ever get a chance to come across that episode of Super Double Dare, you definitely need to watch that. So that's a great recommendation. You could probably find it on YouTube if you're lucky. Coming in at number four, Heenan's commentary during the Hulk Hogan Bill Goldberg match on Monday Nitro, WCW Monday Nitro, which was on TNT in the mid to late '90s. Um, you won't be able to see this unless you own the WWE Network. But I strongly suggest that you watch that episode. I believe it was in '97 or '98. I forgot what year it was, but it was like a pivotal moment of the. This was during the Monday Night Wars, and it was a match at the Georgia Dome between Hulk Hogan and Bill Goldberg, and Hulk Hogan was the champion, and he was of course the leader of the New World Order, and that match was so amazing, and Bobby Heenan's emotion in that match because he wasn't for the NWO, and everybody was like accusing him of being in the NWO at the time, and Bobby Heenan just wasn't having it, and he was just getting fed up and everything. But his commentary during that match on Monday Nitro is something that you really really need to see because his emotions was really strong on that one, and there's actually one here too that you definitely need to check out as well, but you definitely need to check that out. Um, but definitely check that match out. Um, on the WWE Network is the Nitro episode where Goldberg faces Hulk Hogan in the main event on Monday Nitro. Definitely worth checking out. Um, and while you're on the WWE Network, this comes to number three. Um, Heenan's commentary during the barbershop segment in the January of '92, before Royal Rumble at that year, regarding the Rockers splitting up. Now, a little backstory on this before we get to Heenan's commentary. Um, in the in mid to late '91, the Rockers were having some problems uh, getting along as a tag team, and there was an article in the WWE magazine, which was known as the WWF at the time. Um, Definitely want to check that out because it was all the events leading up to it with start. More importantly, go back and watch Survivor Series of '91 that year. um, at that time. Um, and then there was like there was like an article in the WWF magazine at the time where they had a they had this. It was actually in the center of the magazine where you had Marty Jannetty on one side and Shawn Michaels on the other, and it was the Rockers, and it was like, are they splitting up? And they were breaking down some moments and everything like that, and it was a good, very good article in the WWF magazine at that time. Something that you could probably look up on online, and if you ever get a chance to look up that, it's something that you really do need to look at. It's a very good article, but um, the highlight of that split up, they could have just went there. The Rockers could have just split up and just blaze just like good luck with you, and everything like that. But it took it to a different um, took a different turn on wrestling challenge, where they had a barbershop segment prior to the prior to the Royal Rumble of that year, and you had Marty Jannetty, Shawn Michaels coming out and talking about their issue, talking about the issues and everything like that, and the barbershop segment, which was hosted by um, Brutus the Bar Beefcake at that time, was also a really cool um, moment, because at that time he wasn't wrestling as much because he had a he was in a really bad accident which nearly ended his career, and his face had to be reconstructed. There was some reconstructive surgery, and he almost would have died. So and it was very horrible, and now he doesn't really wrestle as much, but he but but then he was given a segment there called the Barbershop, and it was really good. It was a really good show. It was a really good segment, and then all of a sudden, they would go their separate ways and everything, or but it's like they did the hug, the hug that okay, they're gonna stay together and everything, and I can tell you the whole commentary word for word, starting with that with that segment, with that portion of the segment right there. It's like, here they are hugging, and Brutus speaking. He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, the Rockers," and they play the music, and Gorilla goes, "Tag team specialist," and then Bobby goes, and see, one without the other isn't any good. After he said that, Shawn Michaels um, super kicks Marty Jannetty in the jaw, like and it's like Bobby Heenan's going, "Oh, I knew he was going to do that. I just knew he was going to do that. He don't need Jannetty. I told you that off and on." And then Gorilla goes, "Are you kidding? What a despicable act that was!" And right through the window, then Michaels grabs a hold of Jannetty's hair, and he's like, talking smack to him. And he's like, and then he throws him into the barbershop window, which was a glass pane window. And Gorilla goes right through the barbershop, right through the window of the barbershop. And then, without a beat, without missing a beat or anything like that, without hesitation, Bobby Heenan, with his heelish commentary ways, says the following: "Jannetty just tried to dive out the window." I was like, oh my god. I was like, I was starting to excuse me. I literally laughed right there. And then of course Gorilla Monsoon was like, "Are you blind?" Jannetty just trying to dive out the window of the barbershop. It's like, you definitely need to see that video. I think it's actually on the WWE Network. If you're really lucky, you can actually catch that on there. But yeah, definitely worth checking out. Um, which leads to number two, and I'm probably going to get a lot of heat because this is at number two. But number one, you'll know why. And this was, of course, 92 of that same month and that same year. Heenan's commentary during the Royal Rumble match of '92, and this is the one where he was pretty. Of course, he was. He's going. He's you know you know putting Ric Flair over to win the Royal Rumble. The moment Ric Flair um, drew number three, that's where you really, really need to watch it. It's definitely on the WWE Network, but this is where But throughout the whole show, um, Heenan was talking about Ric Flair, and he wasn't sure what number he said what number, didn't know what number he drew. More and more, you can actually see Bobby getting really, really nervous. It's like, okay, what number did you get? It's like, can I leave the broadcast booth to go check it out? And it's like, no, you got a job to do. It's like, you sit right here. It's like the commentary between those two was actually really funny. And but Bobby Heenan was trying to weasel his way, no pun intended, because he was known as the Weasel. He was trying to weasel his way into figuring out what number Ric Flair drew, but at the moment Ric Flair came out, he drew number three, and that's when Bobby Heenan just went in full dramatic, nervous mode. He's like, "Oh no!" He's like, and Gorilla Monsoon was just like, was like how, was like right, ribbing on him and saying, it's like, kiss your meal ticket goodbye, sit down before you have a heart attack. And starting with that, and like Ric Flair was like, Bobby Heenan was like, damn it, he's number three. And you definitely want to go back on the WWE. A lot of this stuff is on the WWE Network, except for, of course, um, is Double Dare. But you definitely want to check this out. Um, it was like you could tell that he's getting nervous. He was getting nervous and everything. It was like Bobby Heenan was like, and everything is like, shut up. Nobody in the history of in the World Wrestling Federation have drew numbers 1 through 5 and been there at the end. And Bobby Heenan's like, shut up. It was like, just shut up. It was like, so it was like, at the same, even though Bobby Heenan is supposed to be like this heel commentator, um, the roles were kind of in reverse, because here's Gorilla Monsoon just like attack, just like picking on Bobby, because Ric Flair's man is, Bobby's afraid that that his man's gonna like not win the Royal Rumble. And this was more important because in '92's Royal Rumble, this was for the WWF Championship at the time. And this is why it was like more intense, because a lot of big names were in that Royal Rumble. The Undertaker, Savage, Hogan, of course, um, Sid Justice, Jake Roberts, I think Mr. Perfect, Shawn Michaels, of course, who just turned heel, um, Erwin R. Shyster, British Bulldog, Bret Hart, I believe, was in there, Rowdy Piper, who earlier in that pay per view won the Intercontinental Championship, which is something you definitely need to check out too. Very, very worth watching. Sergeant Slaughter was also in that match as well too. Hacksaw. A lot of good names, a lot of big names in in that match, and was the lineup was such great. It was a really good lineup, and the placement for everybody was really really good. And when it came, and it's like it was even getting more nervous because there was a time where it was just Piper and Piper and Flair, and they were just going at it and everything. Then comes and Bobby Heenan was getting all nervous, and and it's like, thank you, Jake, thank you, Jake. And then because Jake Roberts came out next, um, and he sat in the corner, just came in, and Piper and Flair were going at it a little bit. Then Jake Roberts came in and intervened that, and it was like thank you. He was like, thank you, Jake, thank you. And when Piper, when Piper is like, say Flair, it's like, I never thought I'd say this, but thank you, Piper. It's not a skirt, it's a kilt. And then the moment Piper went back to Flair, it was like, oh, you no good. That's not a skirt. It's not a kilt. It's a skirt. I was like, definitely. And then of course, down at the end, um, Hulk Hogan gets eliminated. Then by Sid, and then Sid gets pulled down, and then Flair and Hogan pull Sid out, and Ric Flair won the whole thing, and Bobby Heenan was so emotional on there, and especially when they had the interview in the back immediately after, was also something that you got to watch. And he's like, he took it to Savage, took it to Piper, took whoever got in his way, and it's like that's why he's the champ. And that whole interview was funny, especially when that one moment where where Gene Okerlund goes, Ric Flair, you got to put that cigarette out. It was like it was so out of place, but it was so funny though. But but not only with that moment, also watch it for Ric Flair's defining moment as well too, where he gave a really good speech at the end of that interview, which is something which is like a little bonus right there for you, because Ric Flair wasn't doing too well, but he's doing okay now. But definitely check that out. But Royal Rumble '92 is by far the best Royal Rumble I've ever seen. So I urge you guys to definitely watch that. If you don't have the WWE Network, definitely go and watch it, because there's a pay-per-view going on Sunday, which is No Mercy. So now it's free for those who's never subscribed to it. So definitely check that out. It's worth the price for it. And go back and watch some Bobby Heenan moments, especially the biography of Bobby Heenan as well too, which I also strongly suggest that you watch, because it's a very very good pay-per-view, very good documentary, which is called Bobby the Brain, Bobby Heenan story, I believe. So definitely check that out. So a lot of people, I'm probably going to get a lot of flack because it's at number 2 and not number 1, and there's a reason for that, because what I have here at number 1 is Bobby Heenan's 2004 Hall of Fame induction speech. Out of all the emotions that they've had on there, out of all the emotions that they've had there, this was by far the most memorable moment in his career. His induction speech prior to WrestleMania 20. Something that you definitely need to watch. It was a long speech, really long speech, and they didn't have that cut it time and everything like that, but definitely you have to check out, if especially those who had the WWE Network. I strongly suggest you go and watch this, because it was really emotional, and you could tell with his throat and everything like that. He's um, had a hard time talking, but it wasn't as bad, so you could still understand what he was saying. And he slipped up at the time. It was the WWE. At that time they transitioned to the WWE. Um, so which I won't get into, but it was the whole thing with the World Wildlife Federation and the World Wrestling Federation, because there was like a conflict. There was like a conflict of interest. People were punching in WWF.com, and they were showing wrestlers. They were showing wrestlers and everything, and people were trying to donate money to for the wildlife fund, and and it was but everybody every um person would tell you that real person would tell you that it was at WWF.org at the time, because it was an organization. It was like and that's where you had the save the animals and everything like that, that sort of thing, which I had nothing against and everything, but the fact that WWE lost that and they had to change the name to they forced to take the drop the F, put in the E, and that's when everything just started going downhill, because I'm old school and I was recognizing it as WWE. I mean WWF, not WWE, and I'm glad that they were allowed to to bring that back and everything, and not bleach out the WWF, which was by far stupid. Made no sense. But um, but when he was talking about, it's like they had the whole wildlife federation. It's like he was breaking down that there was like we had birds, we had snakes, we had lizards, um, and I was the weasel doing sitting commentary next to a gorilla, doing commentary with a gorilla, and the whole place blew up. I mean, he stole the entire show, with that whole thing. Had a standing ovation and everything, and it was by far one of the most memorable moments of his life. Um, and one of my favorite moments in me being a wrestling fan and being a fan of his as well too. Um, it was absolutely amazing. It was really, really amazing. Uh, to have seen that, to see that video, and to watch it. It's by far, if you ever come across to watching it's on the WWE Network. It's you can see part of it on YouTube and on the WWE YouTube channel. Definitely go and check that out, because it was by far one of the most memorable moments that you will absolutely love. Now, there's an honorable mention that I forgot to bring up, which would have jumped it up to 6 if I he had his last television appearance on Raw, which was during the whole Mr. McMahon Appreciation Day. This was during the whole angle of who that whole thing of who killed um who killed JR, and that sort of angle. So they were doing that sort of angle. This was before the death of Chris Benoit, which we will not dare to get into. Um, but he had his sayings and everything, and I completely forgot what he said. But definitely go back and check that out, because it was it's actually they actually uploaded it on the on their YouTube channel, which is something that you definitely got to check out. It's really, really cool. And I completely forgot about it, but I'm gonna tag it and everything like that, because it was so funny. Um, but yeah, that is an honorable mention, because it would have been the first time I ever did the top 6, and I just completely forgot about it. But once again, definitely check out all these wonderful moments regarding in regards to Bobby the Brain Heenan, and something that I'm going to do right now. Um, before there's like a couple things I want to do before we end this show tonight. Um, First and foremost, you know, my sincere, deepest condolences to the Heenan, to the Heenan family, of course, to Bobby's family. Um, Extend my condolences and prayers to Bobby Heenan's family, and you know, it's very sad. And one of the things I'm going to do in honor of sharing some moments with Bobby Heenan, of some moments of Bobby Heenan. Um, it is with great honor to induct Bobby the Brain Heenan into two Hall of Fames that I have. Not just the Channel X Hall of Fame, but also the Wrestling Prime Hall of Fame that I also have. Um, it's a great honor. Um, to put that in there, and Bobby Heenan will forever be missed. But his moments, whether it was being a manager or being a commentator, whether it was behind the camera or in front of the camera, by far he was the best. And I'm a little bit disappointed that WWE Monday Night Raw did not do the 10 bell, the 10 bell, which is kind of like a tradition. If a fallen superstar, if a superstar passes away, whether it's, doesn't matter what wrestling business they were affiliated with, if that wrestler that was affiliated with that dies, they do the 10 bell count. WWE has not done it as much. They've done it for Piper. They've done it for Dusty Rhodes. They also did it for Ultimate Warrior. Very disappointed that they didn't do one for Savage, nor have they done one for Bobby Heenan. So I'm doing this. I am going to, while we do have this moment of silence, I'm going to ring the bell 10 times. Rest in peace, Bobby Heenan. We're going to miss you. That's it for this episode of Channel X. I'm glad you watched. I'm glad able to watch here tonight. And if you have any moments, any favorite Bobby Heenan moments that you want to share, even personal ones if you've met him in person and everything like that, share them with me in the comment section down below. And while you're at it, hit the like button. Share this episode and everything. Share it with your friends and everything. And also, face hug that subscribe button. It'll be gratefully appreciated. I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss you, Bobby Heenan. We'll see you all here again next week. I'm Tom Dog. Take care. So long. Peace. Love you, Bobby Heenan.